We went to Fatima to pray for our friends Evona and Scott who are battling stage 4 cancer. Please include them in your prayers.
Where are we?
Fatima!
Oh,
We made it! Hi, Mary!
First leg of our pilgrimage.
Woohoo!
In the trusty
Nobody's
little
gonna crawl on her knees.
Volkswagen.
You know they have the thing where you crawl on your knees after the
That got us here safe and sound.
We rented a car for 24 hours and it turned out to be great. Had a great time. The only annoying thing was having to go all the way to the airport to pick up and return the car. It was really cheap. I think much cheaper than the United States, even with full insurance coverage. I think came out to like $56 for the day. Now, I will tell you the tolls we probably spent. I haven't seen my credit card. We probably spent $20 to $30 on tolls going up to Fatima and back for the day. But the highways were very well maintained. Everybody drove very nicely, very politely, like the Portuguese people are. So we had a fun time just tooling around the countryside.
When you see the Marys, you see her with a crown. And when you see the kings and the queens, the crown is always sitting beside them. Do not put.
This is the outside of the Fatima Basilica, and I cut a Debbie off there. So I'm going to explain what she was talking about. She was referring to, in 1646, King Yao IV proclaimed the Virgin Mary as the true Queen of Portugal, under the title of Our Lady of Conception. As part of this devotion, he declared that no earthly monarch should wear a crown in her presence, symbolically acknowledging her as Portugal's heavenly queen. This act of devotion became deeply embedded in Portuguese royal tradition. The gesture represented the king's humility before the Virgin Mary and Portugal's special consecration to her protection. It is part of Portugal's broader identity as a deeply Catholic nation with particular devotion to Mary. You'll find this reflected in Portuguese religious art and royal portraiture, where images of Virgin Mary are often depicted crowned while earthly rulers show deference to her queenship. Many Portuguese churches and shrines feature crowned statues of Our Lady, particularly under the title of Our Lady of the Conception, Portugal's patron saint. This tradition beautifully illustrates the Portuguese concept of Mary as their true sovereign, with earthly kings serving as her earthly representatives rather than claiming ultimate authority for themselves. This was our first full view of Fatima, and we were shocked at how big it was. This is like the size of St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. Toni, of course, was, I think, a little nervous about all the walking and steps. So I went on the search for a wheelchair. And if you ever need a wheelchair in Fatima, you go through this tunnel right here, looking for the medical clinic, which is to your left of the gift shop. Debbie was a great help pushing Toni in the wheelchair. In fact, we split the task 50-50. Debbie took downhills and I took the uphills. This is the interior of the Fatima Basilica. The official name is the Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary of Fatima, which is appropriate because our pilgrimage was to say the Rosary here for our friends Evona and Scott. The basilica is beautiful, but not very old. It was completed in 1953.
This is Brian saying his rosary, which he shouldn't be laughing while he's doing it. Sending Ivana all the love and all the prayers we can to get well.
So, pilgrimage accomplished. We wish the best to Evona and Scott. That wasn't the last rosary we said that day. We also did the rosaries at the site where Mary appeared to the children 5 times.
Em nome do Pai, e do Filho e do Espírito Santo.
The first thing that surprised me about Fatima was its size. The second thing was how reasonable it was. My cynical self was thinking that we were walking into a religious Disneyland where everything would be incredibly overpriced, but it was not. Look at those candles, about $1 a piece.
Got my candles.
The prayer candle site was more like a giant Carolina barbecue than it was a shrine. And an extreme fire hazard. I kept waiting for somebody's sleeve to catch fire. Here's Toni lighting candles for all our friends and family who are suffering. Unfortunately, we had to light a lot of candles. Crossing the square, we came to this giant crucifix, which I unfortunately nicknamed the Ugly Jesus, before Debbie informed me that is her most favorite crucifix of all time. On the far side of the square, you take these long ramps into a huge underground complex of various chapels and museums.
Vos ensinará todas as coisas.
This is a beautiful Sacred Heart statue. I call it the Sacred Heart of selfies because the mirror allows you to see yourself in the Sacred Heart. This is one of the huge series of holy water reservoirs Fatima has scattered around the grounds. One you could rent paddle boats on, and another they're raising a huge school of holy mackerel. We wandered upon an exhibit. I don't know what this is, but Toni wanted this picture. To me, it looks like her preparing for an MRI brain scan.
Em nome do Pai, e do Filho e do Espírito Santo.
I wonder if it's never-ending mass. You know, just continuous mass.
This is the view of the square from the other side, and Debbie was right. That is a continuous 24/7 Mass at the altar where Mary was viewed by the children 5 times. The first time she visited the children was on a path, which is 8 miles long, and Debbie can tell you a great story about that. I told you Fatima was big. These poor folks had worn themselves out to the point they couldn't walk anymore and were crawling back to their cars. This is the site where Mary appeared to the children 5 times. And there is the crown I mentioned earlier.
Em nome do Pai, e do Filho e do Espírito Santo.
At the base of this statue of Jesus is where you collect the holy water. We smuggled as much holy water back through security as we could, but unfortunately we couldn't bring some back for everyone who wanted it. And I will end our visit to Fatima with a prayer. Pray for us, O Holy Mother of God, that we may be made worthy of the promises of Christ.